Hi, this is Usha. Welcome to Rathod Science classes. Today in this lecture, we are going to discuss current affairs of 23rd April 2021. In this lecture, we are going to discuss 9 topics which are very much relevant to UPSC. So let's get started with our discussion and let us see first article. Title says all adults can sign up for DAP from April 28th. So this article mainly talking about this COVID-19 vaccination. So we already discussed some background regarding this article so from May 1st onwards, okay, people who attained age of more than 18 years, they can get this COVID-19 vaccine, right? So in this context, we are going to see some important details and as well as we are going to revise what is this CoWIN platform. So we have discussed this topic of Covaxin some long time ago, right? So if we go through this once again, this will be helpful for revision also. So this article will be important regarding GS paper 2 under mainly policies of government and even health and also regarding governance, okay? So now let us try to discuss this article in a great detail. So this article mainly talking about this COVID-19 vaccine, right? So if you're talking about context here Press Information Bureau, that is PIB, tweeted, everyone above 18 years of age, they can register for a COVID-19 vaccine from April 28th onwards. So whoever they want to take vaccine who attain age of 18 years, they can go for registration for this COVID-19 vaccine, that is from April 28th. So from April 28th onwards, registrations will start. So now let us try to see some details which are given in this article. So if you see details, it mainly says that appointments they are likely only after hospitals after publishing their schedules on this CoWIN. So on this CoWIN platform, after hospitals they are publishing schedules, then onwards the registrations will be taken place. Okay, registration will start. So this CoWIN, it is nodal site for coordinating this vaccine drive. So even in one central government information portal, that is mygovernment.in. So it also said that there should be no walk-in registrations for people who are between age of 18 to 45 years. They can go for only online or self-registrations. There is no need of walking in registrations also. So these are some important details which are highlighted in this article. And now let us see some facts regarding this CoWIN. Okay, we are going to see about this CoWIN. So first of all, what is this CoWIN? CoWIN, it is a cloud-based IT, that is information technology platform, and this platform mainly supposed to handle minute details of India's COVID-19 immunization program. So some important details include registering of beneficiaries and as well as allocating some vaccination centers and sending text messages to people who had registered here. Okay, so this is about this IT platform, that is cloud-based IT platform. So important agencies involved under this CoWIN are, so this CoWIN platform mainly owned by Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. So this Ministry of Health and Family Welfare earlier used this CoWIN platform for conducting this pulse polio vaccination and as well as for other vaccination drives. Okay, now we came up with expansion of this CoWIN platform for this COVID-19 vaccination. And now it is mainly handling by Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology along with National Information Center. Okay, so if you see some important unique features of this platform are, first one is it will mainly monitor and as well as track this COVID-19 vaccination, and next one is it is also Aadhaar enabled thing. So because of this, enabled beneficiaries they are to be identified efficiently through this Aadhaar platform here. Okay, so these are some important facts. And now let us see next article. Title says swine fever hits 4 Mizoram districts. So whenever any disease which comes in news, that will be important for prelims point of view. Because in science and technology, you have one topic like diseases, and these diseases can be divided into 2 types, communicable diseases and non-communicable diseases. So under these diseases, whenever any disease which appears in news, that will be very important from prelims point of view. So now let us try to see this article in a great detail. So this article mainly talking about African swine fever. So this will not affect humans, but this will affect pigs. Okay. So now let us try to see context first. So certain areas, mainly in 4 districts of Mizoram, they declared as epicenters of this African swine fever. Okay, so 4 districts in Mizoram, they are declared as epicenters of this African swine fever. And because of this African swine fever in these 4 districts of Mizoram, so it killed about 1119 pigs in this month. Okay, so this African swine fever that led to deaths of pigs in Mizoram. So if you're talking about some important details, 5 out of Mizoram districts, they include Aizwal, Lunki, and as well as Sherchip, Margate, Sierra. So these are 5 important Mizoram districts. They are affected with this African swine fever. And because of this African swine fever, that led to death of number of pigs. So officials, they calculated the loss because of this African swine fever that led to about rupees 4.47 crore to pig farmers. So there is a huge amount of loss to pig farmers because of death of pigs due to this African swine fever. So now let us see about some facts regarding this African swine fever. So this swine fever, it is highly contagious and it mainly caused by one important organism. So let me know what is the organism that is causing this African swine fever. Okay, so this is very highly contagious, and as well as it is a fatal animal disease. That means if at all animal which affected with this disease, there is no cure. Okay, there is no treatment actually for this disease. So finally that will lead to death of that animal here. Okay, so it infects and lead to an acute form of hemorrhagic fever in domestic and as well as wild pigs. It is mainly causing this disease in pigs. Okay, so after infecting with this organism here, then what happened here, that will lead to hemorrhagic fever, and finally it will lead to death in both wild and as well as domestic pigs. So if you're talking about mortality it is close to 100%. That means whenever any pig which is infected with this African swine fever, then that will lead to death of that animal, because there is no cure for this disease. Okay, only way it is to stop its spread, mainly by culling of animals. That means we need to break cervix of that animal such that we can kill that animal, and whenever we are killing that infected animal, we cannot that will control the spread of this disease. Okay, so if you're talking about this African swine fever, it is not a threat to human beings. So when this disease was first detected, so this disease was first detected in Africa in 1920s. So because of this, the name which is given, that is African swine fever. So this is just of this topic, and now let us see next article. Title says oxygen trains to set off for Maharashtra and UP. So this article mainly talking about oxygen trains. So what is this oxygen trains means? So these trains which mainly carry oxygen filled containers here. Okay, so why oxygen is very important now? If you see in newspaper reports, what happened? So many states are facing this oxygen supply lack. Okay, lack of oxygen supply. So because of lack of oxygen supply, that is leading to killing of lead to death of many people who are suffering with this COVID-19. So as you all know, because of the second wave of coronavirus, there is increase in number of cases that are seen. Okay, so there are more than 3 lakh cases that are reported here. So because of this, what happened in this 3 lakhs, there are many people who are vulnerable, right? There are many respiratory disorder people, they might have affected with this coronavirus. So because of this, they need oxygen support through ventilators. But in many states, there is lack of oxygen supply. So in yesterday's paper, it said that in UP, because of some oxygen leak in hospital, that led to death of 24 people. Okay, so because of this, oxygen is very important for sustenance of life, right? So because of this, in this crisis period, so we need to ensure that every hospital which is provided with oxygen supply. So because of this, Indian Railways came up with this initiative, that is oxygen trains. So this article will be important regarding GS paper 3 and as well as GS paper 2 regarding health. So now let us try to see this article in a great detail. So context mainly says that severe shortage of medical oxygen that is seen in many hospitals in many states. So because of this, Indian Railways came up with this initiative, that is oxygen trains. So under this oxygen trains, 2 oxygen express trains are carrying tankers So these tankers are loaded with this liquid medical oxygen here, and now they began their journey. So there are two trains. First one, it is from AP to Maharashtra, and second one is Jharkhand to UP. So these are two important oxygen trains that are carrying oxygen filled tankers. So what is significance? Significance here is it will be helpful for saving of lives of people who are suffering with this COVID-19. And when we are comparing with transportation of this oxygen by trains, when we are comparing with this transportation of oxygen by roads, so by roads it is very costly and it is also time taking. Okay, so if you are going for transportation of oxygen through trains, it is cheaper and also even it will become very fast. And this one is we are going for roll on or roll off service here. That means if you have a train here, so on this train we are keeping these cylinders, okay, on these tankers which are mainly filled with this liquid oxygen, that is liquid medical oxygen, and this train will be carrying. So this type of carrying is called as roll on or roll off, okay, that is row services. Okay, I hope this is clear. And now let us see next article. Title says US will cut emissions by 52% by 2030. So this article mainly talking about US emissions. It is going to cut by 52% by 2030. So this article is very important regarding environment and ecology, which comes under GS paper 3. And now let us try to talk about this article. And this article is also important regarding international relations because so this statement which is given by US in Leaders Summit on Climate, okay, in Leaders Summit on Climate. So this statement which is given by US. So this will be important regarding even international relations, which comes under GS paper 2. And now let us try to see this article in a great detail. So this article mainly talking about greenhouse gas emissions. So as you all know that US, it is one of important emitter of this greenhouse gases, right? So if you are talking about context why it is in news, because our US president, that is Joe Biden, announced that US would cut its greenhouse gas emission by 50 to 52% by 2020. This is the important statement which is given by US president, that he said that so US going to cut this greenhouse gas emissions by 50 to 52% by 2030 relatively on based on 2005 levels. So this is a statement which is given in Leaders Summit on Climate Change. Okay, so if you see some details of this article, it mainly says that US would double by 2024, that is regarding annual financing commitments to developing countries, and it is also going for tripling of its adaptation finance by 2024. And as well as US, it is hoping to encourage even other countries to increase their commitments. So first one is he already talked about annual financing commitments to developing countries, and he also said that he is going to triple of its adaptation finance by 2024. And this one is US also hoping to encourage other countries to increase their commitments regarding this Paris climate deal. So other important details here is extraordinary response lies on extraordinary engine of job creation and economic opportunities. So whenever they are fighting against this climate change, and whenever they got some positive change here, and that will lead to extraordinary creation or extraordinary engine of job creation. So it will lead to job creation, and as well as it will provide some economic opportunities here. Okay, so this is about this thing. And this one is he also focused that we need to maintain investments and we need to put all these peoples to work, okay, and we need to finally cut this greenhouse gas emissions in half end of decade. So by half end of decade, we are going to cut this greenhouse gas emissions. So these are some important things which are given in this article. I hope it is clear now. Now let us see next article. Title says Modi announces climate partnership with US. So this article also talking about this climate partnership with US. So this article will be very important regarding environment and ecology, which comes under GS paper 3. And the thing now we are going to discuss that will be important regarding both mains and also even prelims point of view. So now let us try to discuss this topic in a great detail. So if you see context, it mainly said that so leaders mainly attend summit, that is Leaders Summit on Climate. So it is going on Okay, it is on 22nd and 23rd April. Okay, so this leader summit on climate change, our Prime Minister attended. Okay, so through virtual meet. So our Prime Minister mainly said that US and India, they were launching together. They are coming up with energy climate partnership. Okay, so in this context, our Prime Minister also said that as a climate which is responsible, okay, as a climate responsible country, okay, India is a climate responsible developing country, and we welcome partners to create templates and as well as sustainable development in India. And he also said that whenever we are having some partners, it will be also helpful for other developing countries which are in need regarding affordable access to green finance and as well as clean technology. So in all these things, so this partnership will be very helpful. So this is some introduction regarding this India-US Energy Climate Partnership. So name of that is India-US Climate and Clean Energy Agenda 2030 Partnership. So now let us try to talk about what is significance. First one is it will help to mobilize investments. It will also help to demonstrate clean technology, and it will also enable green collaborations. So what is goal? The goal of this partnership here, it is to mobilize finances and want to get some speed clean energy deployment and scale innovation technologies, scale innovation clean technologies. So these are some important goals. First one is we need to mobilize finance. Next one is speed clean energy deployment, scale innovative clean energy here. So finally, we need to decarbonize different sectors, for example, industrial sector, transportation, power and as well as buildings. So whenever we are going for decarbonization of these sectors, we can decrease our climate change and we can decrease our carbon emissions. Okay, so we can decrease our carbon emissions whenever we are going for decarbonizing of these sectors. Okay, so these are important sectors which are releasing large amount of this carbon dioxide and as well as greenhouse gases into atmosphere. And finally, we can build capacity regarding measuring, managing and also adapt to risk of climate related impacts also. If you are talking about this partnership, mainly focused on two key areas. So first one is strategic clean energy partnership and next one is climate action and finance mobilization dialogue. So these are two important key things on which this partnership it is based on. So now let us see what are bold steps which are taken by India to address this climate change. So this part will be very important for mains. Okay. So what are steps which are taken by India? So first one is we are taking steps regarding clean energy, energy efficiency and also afforestation, biodiversity. And we are among few countries whose NDCs, that is nationally determined contributions under this Paris climate deal are achieved here. Okay, there are only few countries, they are mainly moving towards achieving of their targets under this nationally determined contributions. So among those few countries, India is one country. And if you are talking about this nationally determined contributions, so these are mainly targets which are defined by each country to help achieve their Paris Agreement objectives here. Okay. And next one is India's target of 2030 here is GDP emissions intensity are to be decreased by 33 to 35%, which are below 2005 levels. And next one is 40% of power generated from these non-fossil fuel sources by 2030. So these are some important bold steps to taken by government mainly to address this challenge of climate change. So this is just of this topic, and now let us see next article. Title says COVID impacts 82% of small business shows survey. So this article mainly talking about how this COVID-19 impacted small businesses. So this article will be important regarding GS paper 3 under economy. Okay. So now let us try to understand this article. So whatever data we are going to discuss, you can use this data whenever you are writing answer regarding COVID-19 impacts on our economy. Okay, so in this context, you can use this data as an example. So now let us try to discuss this article. So this article mainly talking about COVID-19 and small businesses. So if you see context, it mainly says that recently one survey done by Dun and Bradstreet. So according to this survey, it mainly says that more than 82% of businesses, they have suffered a negative impact on account of this COVID-19. Okay, so more than 82% of businesses, they have suffered some negative impact on account of this COVID-19. That means because of COVID-19, there are many businesses that are impacted. About 82% of the businesses, they have suffered some negative impacts. Okay, and 70% expect that it will take almost 1 year for demand to recover as pre-pandemic levels. Mainly to create demand in market, it will take some time, like more than 1 year. So these are some important things. And now let us see what are challenges here. Challenges which are mainly faced by the small businesses include there is lack of market access, and there is improving overall productivity, and next one is access to more finances. So these are three important major challenges which are facing by the small businesses. And if you're talking about some important details of this report, it mainly says that 95% of firms, they were impacted by this COVID-19 in April 2020. So after that, we came up with phase-wise unlock phases, right? So even after progressive unlocking, 70% of businesses, they remained disrupted till August 2020. Okay. And next one is, after this also 40% they are facing some problems even till end of February 2021. So these are some important key highlights of this report and what can be done, what is way forward. So first one is there is need of better credit facility, and there is need of better marketing support, and as well as we need some additional technology to increase productivity. So these are some important things that you should remember regarding this topic. And now let us see next article. Title says make education accessible. So this article mainly talking about education system in this COVID-19 pandemic. So if you're talking about background here, so because of this COVID-19 pandemic, that disrupted almost all sectors, right? So if you're talking about education here, it is also most worstly impacted because of this COVID-19. So because of this COVID-19, many schools, even almost all schools, colleges and universities, they are shut down and they shifted towards online classes. Okay, they moved from offline towards online classes. But if you are talking about this online classes, there are many challenges you are facing. If you are talking about students, they do not have proper gadgets to go for this online teaching. And next one is there is no proper internet availability or internet facility. And in some areas, in remote areas, there is no access to even internet. And next one is teachers, they are not trained how to use this digital technologies. Okay, and there is no proper assessment whether students are following or not. So these are many challenges that are revolved around this online education now. So in this context, this article mainly talks that whenever we need to move towards online thing, whenever we are seeing many challenges here, so this article mainly talking about two possible solutions, okay, regarding this online education. We can use either All India Radio or DD, that is Doordarshan channel, okay. And another alternative which is given by this article here is there should be some free internet service that should be provided by this internet service provided for some hours for teachers and as well as students. Okay, so this is some background of this article. And now let us try to talk about this article in a great detail. So this article will be important regarding GS paper 2 under education. And this topic will be important regarding mains from not prelims point of view. Okay. So if you see this article mainly talking about education and COVID-19. So if you're talking about this introduction, because of this COVID-19, there is shutdown of schools, colleges and universities. So because of this, education system now moved towards online system now. So in this online system, teachers, administrators, policy makers, they are working, but results of this online education, they are not encouraging. Okay. So because of some challenges. So those challenges include here, there is internet penetration is very low in India. It is just 50%, and in some remote areas there is no proper internet availability and internet things. Okay. And next one is there is lack of finance resources, and exams, they have lost their credibility whenever we are going towards online thing. So whenever we are going for online thing, we don't know whether student he is sitting isolated, or we can say this student who is writing its own, or even we don't know if he is searching in some search engines and writing this examinations. Okay, so because of this, now there is lack of credibility, And next one is the cost of health is increasing because of continuous exposure to screen now. And next one is online learning. It is not working much smart here because of some digital divide that is seen when you are comparing with these urban areas and as well as rural areas. So in urban areas we have proper internet facilities, everything, but in rural areas, in some remote areas, there is no proper internet availability also. Okay, so these are some important challenges which are facing by this online education. So what are solutions? So this article mainly talked about two important solutions here. So it mainly says that Government of India mainly owns airwaves. For example, Prasar Bharati. So this Prasar Bharati is handling either we can say radio and as well as television here. So if you're talking about radio, that is All India Radio, that is AIR. So this AIR blessed with 470 broadcasting centers, and it covers 92% of country's geographical area, and 99.1% of population will be covered under this All India Radio. So because of this, we can say this All India Radio reach is very high. So we can use this platform. And next one is Doordarshan, that is television channel. So it mainly handles online and as well as mobile broadcasting. So it have 34 satellite channels and 17 well-equipped studios are present in state capitals. And there are about 49 studios that are in other cities. Okay. So in this way, this All India Radio and DD, that is Doordarshan, that can be used to broadcast lessons here. Okay. So in this way, education, it is one of important functions under this Prasar Bharati Act. So if you are talking about this Prasar Bharati Act, one important function of this Prasar Bharati here is education. So because of this, we can use this All India Radio and as well as Doordarshan mainly to provide some education broadcast, especially for students of 10th, 11th and 12th class here. So this can be done on a ratio of 4:1, that is 4 hours, okay, 4 hours for radio and 1 hour for television. And if you're talking about benefits, whenever we are using this All India Radio and Doordarshan, they are very much high. So first one is we can reduce teachers and students, okay. We can reduce this to teachers and students or straining of having a stare at their screens endlessly. So whenever we are using this radio, then what happens? Students and teachers, they can talk and they can speak itself, okay. They cannot come in contact with the screen that much, right? So because of this, it can also reduce the health cost or health burden. And next one is heavy drain on financial resources will be drastically reduced, okay. So when we are going for this education broadcast to this All India Radio and as well as DD, that will be less cost than compared to some other online platforms of education. And in this context, what is need? Need here is we need to support, monitor and as well as we need to provide some feedback, okay, that need to be taught regarding some appropriate tools for evaluation under this All India Radio and as well as Doordarshan. And policymakers, they should make some point to involve teachers in planning, and even we need to provide some training for teachers, and we need to make these teachers now as a script writers and as well as programmers. And finally, one more suggestion which is given in this article is, so we could consider to ask internet service providers to provide some hours of free internet usage mainly for teachers and as well as students, okay. So this is gist of this article. And now let us see next article. So before seeing this article, I want to make a small announcement on this platform. So if you want to clear UPSC in 2022, we came up with one excellent, highly beneficial and also economic course, that is Current Affairs package along with mains answer writing practice. Okay. So if you are talking about this, how this course is useful to clear UPSC 2022. So one thing you need to remember here is before entering into examination hall, you need to know about at least 1.5 years current affairs in a comprehensive manner. And this is right time to join this course to cover this 1.5 years current affairs in a comprehensive manner. And if you're talking about importance of this current affairs, so it is very important because if you're talking about either prelims or mains or even interview, you can expect 50 to 60% questions from this current affairs. And regarding this current affairs, you need not go for by-hatting one-liner current affairs, but you need to understand issue in a very great deep, okay. So because of this, this course is very important to clear UPSC 2022, and as well as many students who are especially beginners, who are freshers, they ignore this mains answer writing practice, okay. finally they end up in failing mains even though if they cleared prelims. Okay, so from day one of your preparation, you need to focus on your answer writing skills. Okay, and in this course, we are mainly focusing on how to improve your answer writing skills. And if you join this course, we also conduct prelims test on every Sunday. We also provide you explanation video. So in this course is exactly focusing on demand of UPSC. So finally, I want to say one thing. Please don't take this course as a choice. Try to join this course as soon as possible and achieve your dream of clearing UPSC. So for further details, link it is given in description box. So please visit that. And if you want to talk to me directly regarding this course, you can talk to me on this number 8074765513. Okay. And now let's come back and let us say next article. Title says green and raw. So this article mainly talking about tribunal. Okay. So that is NGT, that is National Green Tribunal. So this article will be very important regarding environment and ecology, which comes under GS paper 3. And this National Green Tribunal will be very important from mains point of view. So now let us try to discuss this article in a great detail. First, let us see why this NGT is in news. So recently, appointment of former IAS officer as expert member in Southern Bench of NGT. So this appointment challenged in Madras High Court. So initially Madras High Court gave some interim stay on appointment of this former IAS officer, and finally this Madras High Court ruled that she is not ineligible. That means she is eligible for appointment of as an expert committee member under this NGT here. Okay, so court finally said that she fulfilled the eligibility requirements under this National Tribunal Act. Okay, so if you're talking about some facts regarding this NGT or other tribunal, so these tribunals are established as an adjudicatory bodies in special fields. Okay, so these tribunals are mainly come up into existence because we need some specialization and we need some expertise, okay, required to decide some complex cases of technology in nature. Okay, so because of this we went for this tribunalization. So whenever we are going for this tribunalization, what are advantages? So advantages include they are very much cost effective, they are accessible, and as well as they will give some scope for utilizing expertise in respective fields. So because of this it will bring some special knowledge and as well as it will bring some experiences in this judgment which is given by these tribunals. So if you're talking about criteria to appoint any member as expert member here under this NGT, so they need to meet any one of two criteria. So two criteria are given according to this NGT Act. So first one is based on qualifications and practical experience. Second one is based on administrative experience. So if you're talking about qualifications, he or she must do masters or doctorate regarding science or engineering and technology. And if you're talking about administrative experience, they should have 15 years experience, and out of this 15 years at least 5 years of experience that need to be present in case of environment and forest. Okay, so here any member to be appointed as expert member here, so that candidate he should fill only one, that is either qualification or administration. Okay, any one of them that need to be satisfied. And if you see here, court mainly said that candidate fill this administrative experience because she already had 5 years of experience in environment and forest. Okay, so because of this she is eligible for appointment. Okay, and if you see finally author mainly says that greater urgency in implementing some earlier Supreme Court directions. So earlier Supreme Court gave some directions regarding appointment of members, like we need to constitute National Tribunal Commission here. So this National Tribunal Commission will supervise this appointment and as well as functioning of tribunals. So we need to go for urgently, we need to come up with this National Tribunals Commission. So this is gist of this topic. And now let us see next article. Title says Judges Pro Tem. So you might have heard about this word pro tem. Okay, so if you have completed your polity, you will come across this pro tem in context of parliament. So in parliament we have two houses, that is Lok Sabha and as well as Rajya Sabha here. In Lok Sabha we have speaker as presiding officer. In Rajya Sabha we have chairman as presiding officer. So regarding this speaker, we come across this word pro tem. Okay, in chairman also we can see this pro tem, but in speaker it is mainly seen in after every 5 years we are seeing this speaker pro tem. But in chairman it is not like every year that we will come. Okay, occasionally we can see this chairman pro tem that come into existence here. So now let us try to understand first what is speaker pro tem, then you can understand what is this judges pro tem. Okay, so this topic is important regarding GS paper 2 under polity, and this topic is very important regarding mains point of view. So if you are talking about speaker pro tem, so as per article 94 subclass 2 of our Indian constitution, it mainly says that office of speaker becomes vacant immediately before first meeting of new Lok Sabha. So whenever new Lok Sabha came into existence here, so office of this speaker that will become vacant. Okay, so because of this here, duties of this speaker that will be performed by senior member of that house, and that member will be appointed by president. Okay, till elections for this speaker and as well as deputy speaker that is done in house here. So till new speaker who is appointed, so after formation of this new Lok Sabha, so the speaker will be appointed by president who is normally senior most member of house. Okay, that speaker is called as speaker pro tem. So that means I think you might have understand why I am talking about this speaker pro tem. So before appointment of speaker here speaker one member, that is we can say senior most member of that house will be act as speaker, and he will be appointed by president for temporary period, for not permanent. So this is called as speaker pro tem. So if you are talking about here judges pro tem, that means so because of highly increase in vacancies in high courts and there is increase in pendency of cases, now we are going for appointment of this ad hoc judges rather than completion of this appointment of this judges process in high court here. So this is judges pro tem. And now let us talk about this article in a great detail. So Supreme Court decision to invoke a dormant provision. So that dormant provision here is appointment of ad hoc judges in courts. So if you are talking about appointment of this ad hoc judges, even our constitution came up with appointment of these retired judges as ad hoc judges, mainly to clear some vacancies in high courts for temporary period. So if you are talking about constitutional provisions, Article 224A of our constitution, which mainly provides for appointment of this ad hoc judges in high courts based on their content. So why we need to appoint this ad hoc judges now? Because if you are talking about backlog of cases or pendency of cases, that is over 57 lakh cases, and vacancies levels in high court, it is more than 40%, and 5 high courts, they are accounted for 54% of these vacancies here. So because of this, even if you are talking about further data, even Madras High Court has 5.8 lakh cases which are against a relatively low level of vacancy at 7%. And even in Calcutta High Court, there is 94% of posts or 44% of posts are vacant here. And in this Calcutta High Court, there are about 2.7 lakh cases are pending before this. So because of this appointment of this ad hoc judges with some guidelines, it is well done. Okay. So whenever we are going for such appointment for this ad hoc judges, that will be done with vacancies that how can we go or when we can go for appointment of this ad hoc judges. So first condition is whenever this vacancies that will be go beyond 20% and 20% of the sanction strength of that high court, and whenever there is more than 10% of backlogs of pendency of cases over 5 years, then in these conditions we can go for appointment of these ad hoc judges. So two conditions here is whenever there is vacancies that are going beyond 20% of this sanction strength of that house, and whenever there is more than 10% of backlog of pending cases over 5 years of old. Okay. So in this context, bench ruled that current memorandum of proceedings that had been followed for appointing of this ad hoc judges. So this process mainly initiated by CJ, that is Chief Justice of High Court, and the suggested tenure it is not more than 2 or 3 years. Finally, that article mainly says that we need to ensure that only these retired judges with experience and as well as expertise, they are to be offered with temporary positions. So whenever we are going for appointment of these ad hoc judges, we should not delay appointment of these permanent judges of this high court here. Okay, so this is the thing, that is gist of this article. And now let us say today's main question. Roping in retired high court judges to clear backlog should not be at cost of regular appointments. We should go for regular appointments. So whenever we are going for this appointment of this ad hoc judges, it should not be alternative for regular appointments. Okay, so try to elaborate this statement. Answer should be written within 150 words. So by this we are concluding today. I hope you enjoyed this lecture. Please subscribe to my channel and don't forget to like, share and comment my videos. And don't forget to enroll this current affairs package. Thank you so much.